This is the story of an ungrateful woman who kicked her adoptive father out of his own house. But this man had a hidden safe that contained $5 million in cash. The lady's name was Kayla, and she was a beautiful young girl with a bright future ahead of her. She was adopted by a loving couple, Frank and Mary, when she was just a baby. Kayla grew up with everything she could ever need and more. From the time she was little, Kayla had always known that she was adopted. And although she didn't know much about her biological parents, she knew that they had made the best decision possible by placing her in the loving home of Frank and Mary. She loved them both so much and couldn't imagine her life without them. Frank and Mary were overjoyed to have Kayla in their lives. They showered her with love and gave her all the opportunities they could. They sent her to the best schools and made sure she had everything she needed to succeed. From a young age, Kayla excelled in everything she did. She was a Strata student who was also involved in several extracurricular activities. She was a natural leader and was always willing to help others. As Kayla grew older, she became more interested in her biological family. She wanted to know where she came from and why her birth parents had given her up for adoption. Despite her curiosity, Kayla never questioned the love and support of her adoptive parents. She knew that they had done everything possible to give her a wonderful life. When Kayla turned 18, she went to college. She chose to study social work because she wanted to help children who were less fortunate than her. As Kayla started college, she began searching for her biological family. She searched online and even contacted various adoption agencies, but she didn't have any luck. She was starting to lose hope that she would ever find them. During this time, Kayla became increasingly distant from her adoptive parents. She spent less and less time at home and started hanging out with a bad crowd. One day, Kayla came home late and her adoptive parents were furious. They confronted her about her bad attitude and told her that she needed to change or they would kick her out of the house. Kayla was furious and didn't listen to what they had to say. She stormed off to her room and slammed the door. For the first time in her life, Kayla felt truly angry towards her adoptive parents. She felt like they had no right to tell her what to do and that they were being too strict. For the first time, she started to resent them. The next morning, Kayla woke up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day. However, she noticed something strange. Her adoptive parents were nowhere to be found. She called out for them, but there was no answer. She decided to go look for them, but she couldn't find them anywhere. She tried calling them, but their phones went straight to voicemail. As the hours passed, Kayla became increasingly worried. Where could they be? Had something happened to them? Suddenly, Kayla remembered that her parents had mentioned kicking her out of the house if she didn't shape up. Could this be what they were doing? Had they kicked her out? The thought terrified her. She had never had to fend for herself before, and she didn't know how to take care of herself. As night fell, Kayla became increasingly desperate. She wandered around the streets, looking for somewhere to stay. She tried calling her parents again, but they still didn't answer. Finally, she broke down and called the police. When the police arrived, they took Kayla back to the house and did a welfare check. They searched the house but couldn't find her parents anywhere. They even checked the hospital, but they weren't there either. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. In the end, the police had to take Kayla to a shelter for homeless people. She was heartbroken. All she wanted was to find her parents, but it seemed like they had abandoned her. But she was still worried about her parents. She couldn't understand why they had left her and where they could be. Days turned into weeks, and still there was no sign of Frank and Mary. Kayla started to lose hope that she would ever see them again. She felt betrayed and abandoned, and she didn't know what to do. One day, Kayla was going through some of her parents' things when she found a lawyer's name and contact information. She decided to call the lawyer and see if he could help her find her parents. He said that they had seemed fine when they fired him, but he admitted that he had no idea where they could be now. Kayla was devastated. She didn't know what to do. She was just 18 years old, and she didn't know how to take care of herself. She had never held a job, and she didn't know how to get one. He told her that he had found something that might help her. He had found a will that her parents had made out before they disappeared. When Kayla read the will, she was shocked. In the will, her parents had left everything they owned to her. They had also left her a note explaining why they had disappeared. In the note, they explained that they had been taken hostage by a group of people and that they had managed to escape, but they had to leave Kayla behind. She knew that they would come back for her eventually. In the meantime, she decided to take charge of her life. She started looking for a job, and she soon found a part-time job at a local coffee shop. She was determined to make something of herself. She didn't want her parents to come back and find her living in a shelter. As the weeks turned into months, Kayla started to rebuild her life. She was determined to honor her parents by making something of herself. One day, Kayla was going through her parents' things when she found a box in the attic. When she opened the box, she found something that shocked her. Inside the box was a safe. Kayla had no idea that the safe was there. She tried to open it, but it was locked. She didn't have the combination. Determined to find out what was inside the safe, Kayla took it to a locksmith. Kayla was in shock. She had no idea that her parents had this much money. As she looked through the cash, she found a note. The note explained that her parents had put the money in the safe in case something happened to them. They said that she should use the money to help other children who were less fortunate than her. Kayla was overwhelmed with emotion. She realized that her parents had loved her more than anything. Even in their absence, they had provided for her future. At that moment, Kayla knew what she had to do. She decided to use the money to help other children who were in need. She started a foundation that provided food, clothing, and education to underprivileged children. Kayla was happy to be able to honor her parents in this way. She knew that they would be proud of her. As the years passed, Kayla became successful in her mission. She helped thousands of children in need and made a positive impact on the world. She never forgot the lessons her parents had taught her, and she was grateful for the legacy they had left her.